Hello guys, this is Hank, and first of all, happy winter vacation. We finally made it. It's the end of the semester. Enjoy it, relax, and we do have 3 more semesters, but if everything goes well. But anyway, let's not think about that right now. Let's just focus on the vacation and enjoy ourselves. And while we are in the vacation, I decide to do a project on my own. It's a little bit weird, but I'm going to read the Canterbury Tale by Chaucer and by Geoffrey Chaucer. Yeah, and I'm going to read it in Middle English. Yeah, the actual Middle English, but of course no one actually knows how to pronounce the words exactly because it's a dead language and hardly anyone speaks it anymore. So there's no so-called correct pronunciation. Yeah, so I'll try to pronounce these words according to the information I've searched, and the information I found that it's the most comfortable for me to pronounce. But keep in mind that it's not correct, and it's not, there are some mistakes. Absolutely, there will be a lot of mistakes, but I'll try to do this just for my own pleasure. And if you don't want to listen to it, just turn it off, and you're welcome. If you found any mistakes, if you find any pronunciations weird, and you think I might make a mistake, you're free to tell me. You're free to correct me. I'll be glad to learn new knowledge, and that's how I do. That's what I do in the weekend. In the vacation, I work harder than during the semester. Well, I only read the books I like, so I don't pay too much attention on the textbook. I think I'm going to get failed in syntax. But anyway, let's not talk about the sad things. I'll start read the general prologue of Canterbury Tales in Middle English. So from the Canterbury Tales, the general prologue. Here we go. Wanda Abril with is Sjole Soda, de droogte of March had perste to the lute, on the bath everly wine in sweet liquor, of which virtue engendered is the flower. One Zephylusec with his sweater blessed inspired hath in everly hold and hath. Then tendre Clopes and the younger sonne hath in the lamb his half course young, and small fowls make melody that slepen all the night with open ear. So blikketh ham natuur in hil collages than logen folk to gun on pilgrimages, and palmeles for the second strongest to ferne holves could the in sundry londes, and especially from every shirtless end of England to Canterbury they wander, the holy blissful martyr for to seek that han had holpen one that they well seek. Befell that in a season on a day in Southwark at the Tabard as I lay, ready to wander on my pilgrimage to Canterbury with full devout courage. A night was come into that hostelry, well 9 and 20 in a company of sundry folk by aventure ye fall in fellowship and pilgrimage well they all that toward Canterbury Warden laid and champles and the stables well and weed and well we as at the best, and shortly when the sun was to rest, so hadn't spoken with an everly tune that I was of here fellowship anon, and mad forward early for the lies to take all the way there as I you devise. But nathless will I have time and I have time and space that I further in this tale pass. Me thinketh it accordant to lesson to tell you all the condition of each of him, so as it seemed me, and which they were, and of what the clay and egg in what lay that they were in, and other knicht than will I first begin. A knicht there was, and that a wealthy man, that flowed the time that he first began to leaden out. He loved chivalry, truth and honor, freedom and courtesy. Full wealthy was he in his lord's well, and thereto had he laid no man fell, as well in Christendom as heatheness, and ever honored for his worthiness. At Alexandre he was one. It was one. For of the team he had the board begun. Above all nations incluse in the two had he raised and in loose. No Christian man so of his declare in Gernard at the seg egg had hebe of Algezir and Leiden in Belmalir. At Lies was he and at Saturday one that well won and in the glad sea. And many a noble alive hadn't he been. A mortal battles hadn't he been 15, and foughten for all faith at Tramisen, enlisted thrice, and Iceland his fall. This ilke worthy Knecht hadn't been also some team with the Lord of Palatii. Again, another hafen in Turkey, and Avle Moll he had a sovereign place, and though that he well worthy he was with, and of his port as make as is a maid, he never yet no villainy said. In all his life unto no manner wished. He was a very perfect gentle knecht. But for to telling you of his alley, his halls were good, but he was not gay. Of fustian he welled a gipun, I'll be smothered with his Halberjun, for he was lad, come from his voyage, and went for to do his pilgrimage. With him there was his son, a young squire, a Lovell and a lusty bachelor, with locks cruel as they well laid in place, of 20 years of age he was, I guess. Of his stature he was of even length, and wonderfully delivered, and of great strength, and he had been some team in Chivachi, in Flanders, in Artois, and Picardy, and born him well as of so little space, in hope to stunden in his lady glaze. Embroidered was he as he well made, all full of flesh, flawless, white and red. Singing he was, or floating all the day, he was as fresh as is in the month of May. Short was his gown, with sleeves long and wide. Well could he sit on holes and fell laid. He could songs make and well ended, just an egg dance, and well portray and read. He loved that by Nifteltal he slept namole den doth a nightingale. Cultes he was lowly and serviceable, and on the calf before his father at the table. A yeoman hadden he en selvans namo, a dat time for him least lead so, and he was clad in coat and hood of glen, a shave of peacock always plicht and cane. Under his belt he bal, full thriftily. Well could he dress his tackle yemanly. He is always drooped with featherless lower, and in his hand he bal a mighty bow, and no head had he with a brown visage of woodcraft. Well could he all the usage. Upon his arm he bore a gay bracelet, and by his side a sword and a buckler, and on that other side a gay dagger, harnessed well and sharp as point of spear, a crystal on his breast of silver sheen, and horn he bore, the baldric was of glen, a forester was he soothly as a guess. There was also a gnome, a Prioles, that of his smiling was full simple and coy. His greatest oath was put by Saint Eloi, and she was clapped Madame Eglantine. Full well we sung the service divine, and tuned in her nose full simile, and flange back full fair and fiercely after the skull of Stratford at the bow, for flange of Paris was to heal no at met well I taught was she without. She let no morsel from her lips fall, no wet her fingers in her sauce dip. Well could she carry a morsel and well kept, that no drop ne fell upon her breast. In courtesy was set full mutual her last, her over lip wiped she so clean, that in her cope there was no fair thing seen. of glass when she drunken had he draught full semele after he met she laughed, and secretly she was of great disport, and full pleasant and enviable of bold, and pained hele to counterfeit Chile. Of court unto Ben Stadlich of Manele, unto Ben Holden Digne of Leverlands, but for to specken of her conscience, she was so charitable, and so pious, she would weep if that she saw a moose caught in a trap if he well dead or bled. Of small hundes had she that she fed with roasted flesh or milk and wasted blade. But surely wept she if one of him well dead, or if man smote it with a yield smelt, and all was conscience and thunder heard. For semele her wimple pinched was her nose, treaties her yin clay as glass, her mouth full small, and third soft and lead. Basically, she had a fair forehead. It was almost a span of blood a throw, for hardly she was not underground, for fatties was her cloak, as I was wall of small collal about her arm she bore a bell of beds gilded with glen, and felon hung a brooch of gold full chain, on which there was first written a crowned a, and after amor vinci omnia. Another known with her had she, that was her chaplain and Plestes three. Among there was a fail for the mystery, an outre that loved vanity, a manly man, to ban an about able full money attended horse had he in stable, and when he he man nicht his bridle hill, jingling in a whistling wind. as glel, and egg as loud as doth the chapel bell. Del as this Lord was capel of the cell, the rule of Saint Maule, all of Saint Bennet, by cause that he was old and sonder straight. This ilk monk let all the things pass, and held after the new world the space. He have nucht of that text pulled him. Das saith that hundres benocht holy man, nay that a monk when he is lecherous is likened to a fish that is waterless. This is to saying a monk out of his cloister. But thick text held he not wealth an oyster, and said his opinion was good. What should his study and make himself old upon a book in cloister always to pull or swing with his hands unlabeled as Austin be. How shall the world be served? Let Austin have his swing to him reserved. Therefore he was a soul, a lift. Hundes he had as swift as foul in flight, of plucking and of hunting for the hall was all his lust, for no cost would his spare. I saw his sleeves fulfilled at the hand with glees, and that the finest of a land, and for to fasten his hold under his chin, he had of gold wrought a full curious pin, a love knot in the glitter, and there was his head was bald that shone as any glass, and his face, and he had been anointed. He was a lord, full fat and in good point. His young step unrolling his head, that stemmed as the furnace of a lead. His boots suble his horse in glad state. Now certainly he was a fair prelate. He was not pale as a full-pinned ghost. A fat swan loved he best of any lust. He powerfully was as brown as is a belly. And that's all for today. I guess most of you have already turned off. But for those who stayed until the very end, I thank you, and that's the end of today's section. Thank you very much. I still haven't finished the prologue, but I think I've already finished quite a few characters. And anyway, thank you for listening, and goodbye.